Hello again. All right, so the other video had math, so I'm going to continue where we left off with reading. So in reading today, looking at this yellow box here, we continued to work with dramas, and we were looking at author's purpose and talking about why an author might have written this poem, or not this poem, this drama. So open up your seesaw. Oh, this is going fast for me today. Look at this. Wowzers. All right, so if you got in your 10 minutes of eSpark and your 20 minutes of independent reading, please mark that there. Hopefully you especially got that reading in there today because it's World Read Aloud Day. So let's see. We are right here on page 9. All right, so we had some volunteers to be readers, and we read all about this drama called Around the Water Cycle. So we read through that, so you can read that, and then we went over here to page 10, and we said, why did the author choose to write this play? So was it to teach, entertain, persuade us to do something? You know, why do we think that they wrote this? Well, this was a play where we had all of these little water droplets. So there were 7 water drops. And all of these little water droplets, it kind of takes us through the story of, different ones have kind of different experiences, but it's showing the water cycle and it's kind of giving it from the perspective of the water droplets. And the sun has a part and so on. So it's kind of showing how water travels. And so we said, we think the author wrote this to inform us about the water cycle. Then we said, okay, that was their purpose. That was why the author wrote it. So we were learning things as we were reading it. They were informing us, teaching us something. And then, all right, so we've got our title here. The main idea is to show how water travels through the water cycle. And then we had some sentences that we pulled from the text where we saw some of those keywords that we had learned when we learned about the water cycle, about evaporation, the part when they condense and they start forming into a cloud, and then precipitation. So we pulled out some of those sentences, and those were our supporting details to why we said that this is what the text was about. Students had page 11 for independent work. So as they listened to everyone read and take turns reading the parts in there, we talked about, when you close your eyes and you think about this story, what do you visualize? What do you see? And so this helps with comprehension if we really try to think about, not just having these words on paper or on a screen, but really making them come to life. What do they make you think of? Can you see the water when it talks about, the water was on the dog and the dog shook and the water flew into the air? Like, can you visualize and can you see that happening? And so at the top, you illustrate what those pictures in your mind that you saw. And then down here is just a spot where you can write about what you drew. So explain, why was that what you were visualizing? And keep going back to the text. I was visualizing that because right here it said, he shook me into the air. So I could really just picture those water droplets flying off of the dog. When dogs shake and the water goes everywhere, that was the image that popped into my mind. So that's why, I drew what I drew. Something like that. And then once you finish that page 11, you can draft this. So again, this was, that activity right there was the week 22 reading whole group and independent work. So that came from there. And then if you go to the agenda, let's see, right here. All right, so when you're done with the visualizing, you do your 20 minutes of independent reading, 10 minutes of eSpark. We did a read aloud with the wild robots. We read a few more chapters there. And then in small group today, we worked on our books that we're reading. And then in writing today, we went over to our writing assignment, which is week 22, writing whole group and independent work. And we opened this up, and we've been working with this passage called oh brother, and we kind of split it up. So today we worked on question 4, and question 4 says, what change should be made in sentence 14? So first step is we went and we highlighted sentence 14. Okay, so we kind of clear this out. Start fresh. All right, so job number 1, if it tells you to go to sentence 14, you go to sentence 14. Step 2, you need to read it, and you read it like a robot. Are there some good things about having an older brother, period? When you get to that punctuation, go ahead and say it out loud. It kind of helps you, to stand out. And then job number 3, think about it. Is there already something that kind of catches your eye or that you know is incorrect that you know is going to be, needing to be fixed? Okay, don't even come over here. Look at what you see. Okay, try to spot it before. Then come over here and you might find the thing that you thought of, but if not, start at the top, work your way down. So the first one says change there to there. Now we're going to go find where they have that word right here. Oh, goodness, that's not the one I want. Let's get something smaller here. There we go. All right, there's the word there. So when you have the word THEY apostrophe RE, that stands for they are. So if you're trying to say, okay, let me see if that needs to be replaced, then you break it apart and you take the apostrophe out and you read it with that replacement. So it would say, they are some good things. You're like, wait a minute, that sounds crazy, because it is. They are some good thing. That's not how we write. Okay, that sounds a little cuckoo. Take it out. That's obviously not what we need to do. The first option, this one right here, is what we need. This one is no bueno, no good. Get it out. All right, next. Next one says, insert a comma after things. So here's the word things. If I'm inserting a comma, insert means I'm going to put something in there, and it needs a comma after things. So right here, add the comma, and then read it. And when you get to the comma, you're pausing. Are there some good things, comma, about having an older brother? You're like, I'm not sure, maybe. It kind of sounded funny, but I don't know. Hang on to it, okay? You don't have to take it out. Hang on to it if you're not sure. Next one, change having to have. So here, go find the word having, and we're going to change it to the word have. So when we read it, we're going to replace that word. So read it. Are there some good things about have an older brother? Like, oh my goodness, nope. That sounds cuckoo. Get that out of there. Okay, definitely take out that one. All right, so now we've got J. Change the period. So go find your punctuation. Change the period right here to a question mark. And once you put it in, again, go read it. Are there some good things about having an older brother? Question mark. Okay, well that fits because you're asking a question. Are there some good things about having an older brother? Like you're asking. And so that one fits. So now I've got it down. I've got one that for sure fits, one that I wasn't quite sure about. So I'm going to look at it again. Are there some good things, pause, about having an older brother? I don't really think I need that pause there. Okay, it doesn't really fit. So I definitely need a question mark to go after a sentence that's asking a question. So I know that one, I'm feeling confident that that's my answer. So again, identify that sentence, single it out, and really look at each answer choice and try them out. 2 of those were really easy to get rid of because they just sounded silly. When you read them like a robot, they sounded completely cuckoo. Okay, don't pick cuckoo things. So when you're going through your choices, make sure that you've tested it out. Don't just pick it because you're like, oh yeah, that looks right. Check it. Put it in there, plug it in, see how it fits, okay? So today we went to page 4 and we worked with homophones. And so we took some notes down here. We made a page, we added a page 13. And so let me clear this out so we can go over it together. So we know that we have, there's 3 there's. There's there, and there. So when you see the one with an I want you to take the I and I want you to turn it into a little person. Okay, take the I and turn it into a person. And this is showing ownership. So if I have the word dog that follows, it's their dog. The dog belongs to whoever I'm talking about. Their dog, their shoes, their book, their backpack. Okay, so whatever it is, it's talking about something owning something else. So turn it into a person to show that you're talking about something that someone has ownership over. Okay, so when we go back to page 4, Nathan ate dinner at their house. Look at the word that follows, house. Okay, the house belongs to the people he's eating dinner at. So their, this one right here with the EIR, is appropriate. Look at number 4. My friends cannot find their jackets. Here's the word THEIR. We're going to look at the word that follows, jackets. Jackets belong to the friends, so we need the EIR, showing that ownership. All right, let's look at THEY apostrophe RE. Now this one stands for they are. So whenever you see this, you're going to split it apart back into the 2 words that it stands for. And you're going to try it out. And if you're able to say they are and it fits and it sounds correct, then you know you need the one with the apostrophe. So look at number 2. Amani said they're coming over tonight. Now I'm going to try it. Amani said they are coming over tonight. Okay, so they are, that fits. Right here. They're always late. Break it apart. They are always late. That makes sense. So we're good. We're good over there. We're good over there. Get it? All right, this one, when you see ERE, I want you to take the R and I want you to turn it into an arrow. Okay? And a lot of times when you're talking about, something is over there, you point to it. And so use that arrow to show you, like I'm pointing over there. So Olivia set up the computer over there. There are 4 squirrels in the yard. There is an exciting moving plane tonight. Okay, so if you remember these 3 things, they can help you identify which one of these theirs that we're talking about. Okay, there's 3 of them, so you have to know the correct spelling. Either you're talking about ownership, referring to a place, or you're talking about the word they are. Okay, so be careful with those, and just when they come up in your writing, a little red flag should go off, and just say to yourself, okay, I know that there's 3 of these. Let me make sure that I'm using the right one, and then, do the little checks and see if it fits, and then you'll be like, oh, yep, I got it. All right, so then we headed over to our composition, and the first day we started off talking about the prompt, and we were talking about, collecting some facts and getting some information about an animal so that we could write about the most interesting animal. Well, I got the introductions back, and I was like, oh, guys, we have to pay special attention to this sentence right here. Okay? It tells you what to write about. It does not say to write about your favorite pet. It does not say to write about a cool animal. an animal that you think is cool. It specifically says this one even has it bolded right here. Interesting. So, yesterday when we wrote the introductions, I should see here that this says something about you and that you've been writing about an interesting animal. Okay. So, if you don't even have that word, you need to go back and you need to check it over and make sure that the introduction, it's very clear you are writing about an animal that you think is interesting. I'm the dummy. I know nothing about your animal. You're the expert. You're going to teach me, and you're going to be giving me all of this information about why your animal is interesting. Okay, so introduction, that's just where you're introducing that idea. So you can go back, you can look at mine right here. That's the introduction. Then today we got into the body. So here I took how I had kind of set this up in the introduction where I had the beautiful colors, talking about it being a predator and talking about its name. And I took that, and when I started writing this body section down here, I took that information and here's where I give the details. So I'm just posing the question like, is it a beautiful color that makes an animal interesting? And then I tell you, okay, well, my spider, like he checks all these boxes. So now let me tell you why I think he's got such beautiful colors. So I go in and I say the sparkle muffin spider displays a rainbow of colors, much like a peacock. In fact, the sparkle muffin spider is a part of a class of spiders known as peacock spiders. You will know you are in the presence of one of these interesting animals by the red and blue patterns on their muffin-shaped abdomens. Okay, so I'm talking all about how it looks. All of this right here, if I go down to page 10, okay, this box right here is paragraph 1 of your body, so body 1, and this whole paragraph is going to be nothing but talking about the color. Okay, then if you go back and you look at the second one, here's the second body paragraph right here. This one goes with this question that I had posed at the beginning. Is it ruthless predatory actions? So here I talk about how it hunts. I say, as a human, you will not need to fear these spiders, but if you are a cricket, you better watch out. Like most spiders, the sparkle muffin spider is venomous. However, unlike most spiders, they do not spin webs. These little guys have great vision and can spot their prey from many yards away, then pounce. Dinner is served. They also use this ability to jump far distances to escape from being someone else's dinner. So here, box 2, this is all going to be how my animal eats, how it gets its prey, how it hunts, and things like that. Okay. And then, I had changed this to show somebody else's, but on mine, my third box, I would put in the information about the cool name. So I said, the male spiders have a very interesting way of attracting the attention of a female spider. They raise their colorful abdomens and some of their legs as they dance around doing all kinds of movements. It is quite mesmerizing to watch. The name Sparkle Muffin seems very fitting for such a rhythmic animal. Madeline Garrard, a student who discovered this animal, reported, "We wanted the name to be something glamorous." So here, I didn't really have enough information like to talk about the name, forever. So I kind of connected a couple ideas about like how they do their dancing and stuff, and then I made the connecting. I connected it with the name when I said Sparkle Muffin seems like a very fitting name for such a rhythmic animal, and then that's when I started talking about like why it's named the way it is. And so down here, this was all about the name. So everything in this third box of your body needs to be, so this is body 1, this is body paragraph 2, and this is body paragraph 3. Okay, so all of those need to be about this topic above. So don't go to your second body paragraph and start talking about the colors again. You already talked about it over here. Now, within each of these body paragraphs, It needs to be 3 to 4 sentences, every single box. Okay, so 3 to 4 sentences about the color, 3 to 4 sentences about what it eats, 3 to 4 sentences about how it got its name. Your box titles might be different. So if you didn't talk about the color, that's fine. Talk to me about what you do want to share. Maybe you got information about maybe there's something interesting, like if you had a penguin, the part where the males hold the eggs on their feet for months on end. That's pretty interesting. So maybe you talk about how they parent, or whatever. So whatever your topic is, make sure that that section is what is holding all of that information. Okay, so we worked on the body paragraphs today. And then tomorrow we'll continue working on those. And that was that. So let me draft this. And then let's see, agenda. Science, you have the seasons of Earth. So if you go right here and you go to your classwork, the link Science Seasons of Earth is right here. You can click this video link. And we just had a little bit of time for social studies and science today since it's an early release. So we watched a movie that kind of wrapped up what we talked about with seasons. And then we did some more of we had some time to do some coding. And then we continued working on our models in Scratch. And then so we watched that. So you can click that link and watch that. And then in social studies today, there are 2 links, one for the north, one for the south. You can click on that. And we talked about the differences between the way people made a living. So in the north, when you click on that north one, you see a lot of factory type jobs, and you see a lot of like industry type things, versus the South was very different. That was where a lot of the farming and things like that happen. And so 2 very different ways of living. So the article today just kind of continued that topic, and talked about how a lot of people came. There was a lot of immigrants from Europe that came over, and they were kind of more qualified to be working in these factories, and or not more qualified, but qualified to be working in the factories. And so they had a lot of jobs that had to do with that, versus the South. They were had a lot of the land to farm on. Cotton, tobacco, things like that were they had fields, and they said that they needed people to work the farms and work the fields. And so a lot of people, that was one of the reasons why they, kind of justified, oh, I need, people to work for me. I need slavery to be happening, because I need people to, work the farms. And so, just some kind of background information about just some things that were different with the North and the South. So that was what we talked about today. And there was just a couple questions on there. And so we didn't get to this. So I'm just going to move this over because we ran out of time for that. Or actually, I'm going to put it first. And so let me know if you have any questions on that. But that wrapped up our day. And then make sure you watch that separate video about math. Math I put separate because it was a very big introduction with, where am I? Right here. A very big introduction with the types of angles. So make sure you have that if you were absent today. All right. Thanks, guys.